somewhere in your packet? So homework 22 is the last of chapter 3, which was really short, has to do with graphing inequalities. So when you graph an inequality, the first thing you do is just graph it like you would if it had an equal sign. If I were going to graph the line y equals -5, we said that if it's y equals the number, we know our line has to go horizontally. And that if we made a table and put numbers in, we know all the y values have to be -5 in our table. So it tells us y has to be -5. We then said we could pick whatever numbers we wanted to for our x values so that we could get our line. I might use 0, I might use 2, I might use -2, whatever I happen to pick. So putting my dots on my graph, if y equals -5, on my y-axis, right there's where -5 is. It happens to be the point 0, -5. If I plot 2, -5, I go over 2 and down 5. If I plot -2, -5, I go back 2 and down 5. And you can see what happened. The dots ended up being in a horizontal line. If you knew that already, you could just click on y equals -5 and make your ruler go straight so you can draw your line. So that's the line y equals -5. Once you have the line on there, you want to check. If you have a less than or a greater than, you're going to change it to the dashed line. If it has the equal to underneath, then you leave it the solid line. So on this one we look up here, it just has the less than, it doesn't have the equal to, so we have to click on the tool that changes it. Then we click on our line, and instead of having a solid line, it's going to be a dotted line. Probably erased too much of my line. But it's going to be a dotted line in this case. Once I've checked my line and I know if it's solid or dotted, then I'm going to check my shading. Since this has y is less than -5, I'm looking on my y-axis for the values lower than -5, means I would shade underneath my line. You're going to have a little tool that sort of looks like this with a whole bunch of little dots. Click anywhere under the line, it's going to add all those little dots underneath there and shade that little section in. So that's what my graph would look like. I've got a line at y equals -5. It's a dashed line because it's not equal to the line, and I shaded less than the line, so I shaded down.
I thought you just said if it's... Okay, never mind, I read it wrong.
So on number 2 here, we have x is greater than or equal to -2. We're going to start by graphing the line x equals -2. If x is equal to -2, if I made a table, all of my x values have to always be -2. My y values can be anything, 0, 2, and -2, or whatever ones you want to use. And hopefully I know that the line, when I'm done, should end up going vertical because it's an x equals a number instead of a y equals a number. Otherwise, if I just plot my points, -2, 0 would be back 2, but up 0. It's right on the x-axis at -2. X equals -2. -2, +2 would be above that. -2, -2 would be below that. My dot should line up straight up and down and touch the x-axis at -2. So in this one, when I look at my inequality symbol, this one does have the equal to bar underneath my inequality, so this line is going to stay solid instead of being a dotted line. Then I have to do my shading. I'm looking at my x values. I want my x values to be greater than -2, so should I shade on the right or the left of that line? To the right, right? My bigger numbers go to the right, and so I would click on it, and it's actually going to shade in the whole section for you at once. I just got to scribble and make it shaded. But it's going to look something like that. a solid line. You shaded to the right since you shaded greater. So number 3 says graph the inequality for x is less than 1. If I'm going to graph x is less than 1, I'm going to start by graphing x equals 1. Am I going to have a vertical or a horizontal line?
Vertical.
It's going to go vertical. And again, you really don't have to make the table unless you want to. I know x is equal to 1, so on my x-axis I know it's going to be 1. And then I know my line's going to go vertical, so I just need to have a point above that and below that somewhere so that I can draw, if I could draw straight, a line going through x equals 1. Now on this one, if you look at the inequality, should that line stay solid or should I change it to the dashed line?
Dash.
This one's got to be dashed. It doesn't have the equal to underneath. And so we use that little tool. It sort of looks like this. Click on our line and make it a dotted line instead of a solid line. And then when I shade, this time I'm shading x is less than 1, so I would shade to the left. Click on my shading tool and click anywhere on the left side, and it's going to shade that whole side in for me. Once you do the ones where you have the horizontal and vertical lines, then you'll do the ones that are in slope-intercept form.